Greetings from Lakewood, Ohio. Today is Friday, May 12th, 2023. It is 5:24 p.m. on this Friday. I'm at Detroit Avenue and Clarence. Initially, what I wanted to do was go inside of that Family Dollar that's over there. We can see someone's actually exiting right now. But I wanted to go in there because the store is closing and they have everything 50% off. Online it said their hours would still be till 7 p.m., but I guess they decided to close early because the sign says opening at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So we're outside of the Lakewood Garden Center. They actually don't have the Cleveland Browns chair out like they usually do. I almost always see that Cleveland Browns colored chair, but it's not there right now. I did a Detroit Avenue walk a couple of weeks ago, or maybe like a month or so ago, but I didn't capture this mural because I was walking going eastbound, so you kind of missed some of the murals going westbound. But my plan is not to stay on Detroit. What I actually want to do is go down Nicholson right up here. So I'm going to make a right turn at the next intersection. And then we're going to try to explore a mixture of the Gold Coast area, maybe a little bit of some of the houses on Edgewater near that area. And then I'll see if I have time. Maybe I'll explore a little bit near Clifton and 117th because there's a relatively new shopping center there. When I say relatively, I'm talking about like within the past 4 years probably. See, again, going westbound here, I'm noticing murals that I didn't see the first time I did this walk. Right up there. Oh, in fact, I think I'm still zoomed in. Good thing I caught that early. So we're turning down Nicholson and going to do a walk to Clifton and then beyond Clifton. There's part of St. Edward's High School. The temperature right now is 70 degrees. And the sky looks overcast. But when I look at the weather forecast and the radar, it's only showing like maybe a 10% chance of rain, and on the radar there's some stuff closer to Akron. So I'm assuming that's going to be slow moving. Actually, there's a little bit of possible rain near Strongsville too, but it's nothing heavy, so hopefully we don't get caught in anything here. Just trying to see what this Ohio historical marker sign is pointing out. Cohen Pottery. At this location in 1913, R. Guy Cohen opened Northeast Ohio's only art pottery, the Cohen Pottery Studio, known as the Cleveland Pottery and Tile Company, began molding Lakewood's clay into sculptural forms, and then so on it goes. Pottery closed in 1931, a casualty of the Great Depression, but its artists produced elegant household wares and limited edition ceramic sculptures that were sold throughout the United States and Canada. It's always nice to see some nuggets like that. You've also got the St. Ed's football field back there, as well as the track. I never knew they had outdoor basketball courts there too. I see outdoor basketball. That's probably just for the students, I imagine. I don't think that's a public park. we'll go ahead and cross these railroad tracks. It is a little bit of a walk when you go from Detroit to Clifton, but I do it fairly often, so to me it's easy to make the time fly by, especially when you're doing a video. And then this is the train tracks that cut in between Detroit and Clifton. Now, we've had several video requests asking about the Gold Coast area and portions of the Edgewater area. By the way, that house on the corner there, I always think that's a cute house. Every time I come by, I don't know, something about the color and the way they keep their yard maintained, as well as the big American flag. If you're ever through Lakewood too, you see different colored squirrels than you do in other places. Now, traditionally I see like those light brown colored squirrels, but in Lakewood you're going to see some brown squirrels, you'll see black squirrels, you'll see gray squirrels. I don't know how common that is in other areas. I know when I visited San Diego, at one point they had like tiny squirrels. Like all the squirrels that I saw in a certain area were like miniature. See, here's more of a traditional brown colored one, although that one's a little bit grayish even. So yeah, what I was going to say was when I look at Gold Coast on the Google Maps, it kind of outlines the border of the Gold Coast. So you can see we're right here. So if I continue on Nicholson, I have to go up to Lake Avenue before we technically reach that, what Google Maps is calling the Gold Coast. In my head, I feel like the Gold Coast area is a bunch of like high-rise apartments, or I don't know if they were condos, but like a bunch of buildings like that. I don't think there's houses in that area. And in my mind, again, these are just assumptions I've had over the year, I feel like it's often a lot of retired folks. So it may not be like a scenic walk, but hopefully it helps people who are curious what the area looks like. Hopefully it helps paint a good picture. And I think this walk from Detroit down Nicholson, for example, will help illustrate an example street in Lakewood. Most streets that I've gone down in Lakewood through all the years have been very calm and peaceful. You can see another one of those squirrels enjoying a nut. I missed it, but there was even like a little chipmunk running across the grass there. This place on the corner always has very unique landscaping. In fact, there's a good promo for the guy, Landscaping by Lou. But like the artwork, I've seen it when there's like more water running. This isn't as active with the water at the moment, but they've just got a lot of unique stuff in the yard. Yeah, this one either, the water's not currently at its best. There's one of the 55 bus shelters, which are very convenient to wait for. Clifton's a very busy traffic street. Like if you're going to drive down Clifton, almost treat it like an expressway. I feel like the miles per hour is higher on this street. So let me try to follow Google Maps. We're continuing still down Nicholson Lake. Now it's a much shorter walk when you go from Clifton to Lake, and that's pretty much throughout the whole stretch of Lakewood. They're very close to each other. Lake and Edgewater, you'll start seeing more of the bigger mansion-like houses. It's not guaranteed that it'll be like that throughout the entire stretch of Lake and or Edgewater, but it's still, you're going to see a lot of them if you end up walking or driving through. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is cross here and then make a right turn and start walking down Lake going eastbound. Now you can see the signs here. They're promoting the bike lanes on Lake, but they are street bike lanes, like in the curb lane. Here we go. We do have a bicyclist coming. Let's see if they stop. Nope. See that? Bicyclist went through the red light. Giving bicyclists a bad rap, darn it. This has some engraved stone that says Lake Cliff. The Gold Coast border is showing that it's at the next street, Gold Coast Lane. And while we're over there, we'll try to certainly point out where Pier W is. That's the very fancy restaurant. I went to it once for a departmental Christmas party. I want to say that was either in 2014. Yeah, I'll just estimate that it was about 2014 when I went there, and that was the only time I was there. Like from the outside, I don't think we're gonna really see much of the restaurant. You kind of have to like go down, and then you're eating like literally right on the lake. inside still, but you've got windows that are like going outward. Yeah, so in my mind, when I think of Gold Coast, this is what I think of. Like I said, the high-rise apartments or condominiums. I have no clue what the rent or affordability is of these places. I took a guess at the demographics, being trending toward older generations, but I could be mistaken on that. You know, lots of people are here. You can tell by the amount of cars coming out, like exiting right now. If you've ever taken the 78 bus when it's going north, it says its final stop is at Winton Place. So Winton Place right here, there's a sign. They also have a sign for Pier W. Should snap some photos of this because I'll probably be sharing some of this to social media. So it looks like if you're taking the 78 bus and you want to go to the very last stop, this would be it right here. Probably, because it says layover, it's probably the drop-off and pickup point. You see, you've got like a peaceful greenery garden area. There's like a statue of a fox or something, and then in the background they've got a couple benches. Looks like that might be a tennis court in the back there, although I don't see any nets up, but the surfacing looks like a tennis court area. The navigation here is kind of weaving in and out with the crosswalks and the streets. But this area too is right on Lake Erie. So if you see, I don't know if it's picking up on the camera, but you can see like the blue skies here. But like that's the water of Lake Erie on the lower part. Alright, so I'm trying to get to Pier W because I know that's at least close to the lake. It's saying for directions for Pier W, and visitors go this way, deliveries would go the other way. I actually wanted to get over to the street area. See where Pier W. Oh, I think I see it now. I thought it was going to be a little bit further toward the other building. The wind's picking up as we're getting right next to the lake. I wonder if maybe there's a little deck over here where we can capture some nice views even though we're not going in the restaurant. Yeah, so this would be the entrance to Pier W. You go through that like glass area, but then you're taking stairs downward, and the actual restaurant is like a level down, and then it faces the lakefront. Now it doesn't look like we can go to that area because I didn't realize it looks like Pier W must have an outdoor seating area where you can eat outdoors right on the lake. We could probably go up to the fence at least. Sorry, I'm trying to snap some pictures here. Yeah. So no one's eating outside today. I don't know if they always open that because, like I said, I didn't even know they have it. But if you go down the restaurant, you'll be like, imagine underneath that. So imagine that railing there and you're underneath it. And then the windows are facing like out that way. And I believe when I had the window view, I think you could see downtown Cleveland. But I could be mistaken on that. But I would say this is considered a pretty high-class restaurant. I think most people who are from the Cleveland or Lakewood area, if you mentioned Pier W, they would know what you're talking about. Yeah, see these, all these streets are confusing me. When I say streets, I mean curved paths of the parking lot. Let's see here, is there a way to exit to the left here, or do I have to walk all the way around? Well, that kind of sucks, right? There's no way to like cut through, so I have to backtrack, so to speak. Here's the basketball court. The backboard, it looks really nice, but the rim needs maintenance. And here's what I was referring to as the tennis courts, but I don't know. Right now, it actually just looks like a rollerblading court, and they do have the yellow caution tape up. So, fortunately, the recreational activities aren't quite available as one would hope. So now I'm trying to think, like, I assume that this property is part of like the area, but now I'm starting to doubt it because look, like right there they have that, it's a house on Lake Avenue and they have like their backyard extending, but I have to imagine that their backyard only extends to like the trees, and that these benches and this more area over here is still just like general Gold Coast area for everyone. By the way, if there are any Gold Coast residents or people who are much more familiar with this area, it would be nice if you could leave some comments in the video section down below. Tell us, you know, what you think of the area, maybe affordability. Try to help some other potential future residents out who are considering this area. So you can see one of these 78 buses is just arrived, although it's the green trolley bus. Those trolleys used to exclusively operate in downtown Cleveland as like the free trolleys, but then probably due to, well, A, they cut a good portion of the trolley routes, and then B, I think they just use it as, buses on more limited routes where they don't get super crowded. I think they just use them because they're still kind of newer compared to other buses. I think we can pass through and get it back up to Lake from here. We've got a sign here for the historical marker, Alexander Winton Homestead. So that explains Winton Place, right? On this site, Alexander Winton, born 1860 to 1932, an American automobile pioneer, built and lived in a lakefront estate named Roseneath? I don't know. He was born in Scotland and immigrated to the U.S. as a young man, settling in Cleveland in the early 1890s. Founded the Winton Bicycle Company 6 years later, incorporated the Winton Motor Carriage Company in 1903. His auto plant on Berea Road was one of the largest in the world, and he produced the first car to cross America from coast to coast. Built a 25-room house in 1912. Founded the Winton Gas Engine and Manufacturing Company, which was eventually become part of General Motors. He is buried in Lakeview Cemetery, and it says a fire in 1962 destroyed the Roseneath. So now we are continuing our walk back on Lake Avenue, heading eastward. So we'd be going in the direction of West 117th. Now here, see, they have a sign. This is the house I was talking about from the backside before. It says no trespassing private property. But how far does their property extend? Like, of course, if I'm walking by like this, I'm not gonna just go in their front yard or something. And then here, now we're like on the other side of where that fence would be, but there's more high rises. I don't know if any of these have like a pier that you can just walk up to. But it looks like they do have maybe some roof deck areas. I don't know. I can't guarantee that, but just from looking at the top of the buildings, I'm speculating that you'd get some nice rooftop views of the lake in downtown. By the way, not to pass up, but if I look across the street, you can see more of the large houses that are featured on Lake Avenue. See, this here says private entrance, so that seems to indicate, like, theoretically they wouldn't want me walking through as a visitor. Over there across the street is formerly Cove Church. The church departed many years ago, but then they, I think within the past year, finished converting it to Cove Community Center. I don't know what exactly they do in there, but that's what it's branded as, and they've touched up the outside, so I'm sure the inside looks nice. Okay, now let me check Google Maps. I feel like in my mind that, like, okay, so technically it's showing that the Gold Coast continues on. So what I'm going to do is make a left turn down Cove here, and that'll take us a little bit down Edgewater Drive, because then maybe you'll see some of the places that aren't high rises, although it looks like I see quite a few more high rises too. So I'm going to turn left here off of Lake down a portion of Cove. The 78 bus does pass through this area too, but you can see, like, on the right side how you have smaller places with still some nice looking architecture. I like how the buildings still have certain words carved into them, like Victoria. So now we're on the Edgewater portion of the Gold Coast. You can see there's no outlet down there. It's just building after building after building. And each one seems to have a certain name. I haven't named them all, but, like, for example, over there you've got the Waterford. The one after that seems to be called 12,000. That's probably the address just spelled out. Yeah, 12,000 Edgewater Drive luxury apartments. So they use the even address as part of their branding. But then across the street, you've got the smaller ones. And some of them have names too, like Shore House. Or you've got the Edgeley. I was gonna say I was gonna take one of those things that say take one, see how much it costs, but the box was empty. So I will say though, I don't know about the places on the left, but the ones on the right, I have seen, even though it may not show it on the video, I have seen some younger crowd too, like walking their dogs. I always found it kind of curious too, why there is these like mini, I don't want to call them hotels, but you know, the same concept as a hotel, like Travelodge, or if I had stayed on Lake Avenue, you've got the Lake Days Inn, I think, on Lake. So Travelodge is right next to Brookfield Manor. And then you've got the Berkshire across the street. I think years ago, I was curious, like, oh, I didn't know they had these places here, like Travelodge. So I looked at reviews online, and a lot of the reviews were talking about how it seemed like a sketchy area. Not the surrounding areas, like where I'm walking now, but just like that specifically, the Travelodge and the Days Inn. So if there was an area to maybe stay a little bit away from, it could be that spot. And then this next street here should be West 117th Street. And that signifies the end of the Gold Coast area on Google Maps. Like, these are kind of like cute houses or townhomes. Like the decorations outside of them all. Okay, so eventually I want to end up back at 117th and Clifton up there to show some of the shopping. Like, but for now I want to continue down Edgewater because that light just changed, so I can actually go even though I don't have the walk sign. That's the one thing, if you don't see the walk sign, don't just walk out blindly. Like, make sure you at least know in your head that the traffic light had just changed, and the only reason that the walk sign didn't show up is because you didn't press the button by like half a second. You can see the sign over there that says "Welcome to Edgewater." So this area is more of the Edgewater neighborhood, and if you kept on walking down, kept on going and going, you would reach Edgewater Park. I'm not going to do that today. I've done some videos last year on Edgewater Park. I'll probably try to get back there for something this year, maybe when I have a bicycle with me. But the reason I'm venturing this direction at this very moment is because on Google Maps, when I was planning out the Gold Coast area, I noticed this icon that's on the map for a park about 2 blocks away that said Seltzer Sculpture Park. And it looked like it had some unique sculptures online. It says the Seltzer family put it together. It's a residential garden designed to incorporate existing sculpture and additional sculptures in the future. I think it should be coming up in the next minute or so. If you go down this street, you reach something called Harbor View. I might circle around there once I see the sculpture park, because I think there's some like bigger mansion-like houses there, and even these ones here, you can tell. You kind of just have a different vibe. Like you've transitioned into a very wealthy area. Right here should be the sculpture park. So I can't comment on exactly what the sculptures are. This one looks like it would be a fence that lets you in and out. So I wonder if it's like closed. I don't think it's closed. I mean, we'll see. If it is, we can at least pass by. Yeah, I really don't see a lot of like entrances. Now right here you can see it says 24/7 video surveillance, part of the safety measures, keep the area safe. Yeah, I wish there was, oh, there are a little bit of signage that indicates like what the sculpture may be, but I can't read it from back here. You can see back there, there's like a sculpture of a adult with a kid in front of him. Yeah, so it looks like it actually was kind of a gate at the beginning. Now, granted, could I have opened that? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I could have just like opened that and walked in. But with me not being too knowledgeable on the area, I didn't want to just do that myself. Now it looks like technically here there's like a little area where you could walk in, but I don't know. I think we got a decent enough vibe of that park from our little walkthrough. But now let's continue down this curvy road called Harbor View. So this right here, you see this? Gated area, and then you've got the roadway that would take you up to the lake. These are like lakefront properties. So this mansion here, you've got your own private deck, your own view of the Lake Erie. Let me try to check on Zillow real quick. See, for example, like what homes in these areas are valued at. See your current location, map, and then I gotta zoom in. Like, these aren't for sale right now, but you can still, if you zoom in on Zillow, they give you like estimates of what properties are valued at. Well, usually they do. Where's it at? It doesn't show it for that one. But showing these ones on the left side as being like a little over $1 million. But I was curious about the ones that were right on the lake. Oh, there it is. Now it showed up. So that one right there, and the property is estimating about $5.13 million. I know there's other parts of Edgewater where you have like more of those exclusive places that are expensive and have like the lakefront views. Although I'm surprised, I don't know. I feel like Zillow's off on some of these, because it's showing even these ones should be right up against the lake to a degree, and it's showing them as like 1.1 million and 1.1 million. Not that that's anything to sneeze at, but I thought it would be a little bit higher because of the location. One of these places up here, I think it might be that one over there, is showing is like 3 million. And then that blue one looks like it's undergoing significant renovation. Oh yeah, I guess because you can see the commercial LLC. And then you've got a no outlet down there. I think the main thing down there would just be that $3 million property. So we'll go ahead and head back up to Edgewater Drive, that is, not Edgewater Park. And this is West 115th Street, and then I'm going to walk down West 115th Street up to Clifton, and then I'm going to turn back toward the west and just go up to 117th, but showcase the businesses that were kind of recently developed in that area. And then we'll wrap up the video with that. So now we're approaching Lake again. And if you remember what I said earlier, anytime you go from Lake to Clifton, it's going to be a really short walk. Like the streets are almost right on top of each other. So this is a intersection on a main street that doesn't have a light, but just a traditional crosswalk. Lake isn't nearly as busy as Clifton would be. Clifton, they have the traffic lights up. So this used to be a PNC branch. Now they only have the PNC ATM back there. Now it's a T-Mobile store that it's been converted to. That's been a long time it was changed. I don't have a ton of history on the background of the businesses here, but I can say that that used to be a Starbucks location and then was converted to Pulp, Juice and Smoothie Bar. Then you've got an Anytime Fitness, The Starbucks that was there moved down a little bit that way. And you've got a couple of storefronts here. Flower Child. Remix ice cream and cereal bar. That seems pretty interesting. You got an Asian grill there. TikTok Tavern barbecue ribs. And then Papa Nick's. It looks like a little pizza bar. Yeah, Papa Nick's Pizza. I didn't know they had a pizza place there. So this is the place that I was saying was like newly developed, I feel like, within the past 4 or 5 years. This whole little shopping area right on the corner of 117th and Clifton. It's anchored by a grocery store called Lucky's Market. I think we'll get a little bit better view once we get past this next section here. So yeah, they're open every day, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. This area is no longer an entrance. You got to use what they call the front doors. There's this signage for Lucky's Market. So the parking lot is back here. And then the strip of stores here, you've got a Verizon, Great Clips, Nail Spa, and a Chipotle. So it's not a huge area, but still it's noteworthy, and it seems to be, at least the grocery store portion, seems to be pretty busy when I pass by. Behind that big limousine, that's where that new Starbucks is located. And you've got Twist Social Club. And I'm gonna, it's because I don't want to wait for the next light, I'm gonna go ahead and hurry on up across here. Don't do this if you can't walk or jog fast. And that brings us, so that was technically Cleveland we were just in on that stretch. Now we're back in Lakewood once you cross 117th. And that's where we will sign off with the video. There is also a restaurant there. I forget what it's called. There's an outdoor patio as well as a Huntington Bank. But if you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you next time.